Welcome back to the Wizard Weekly, where we talk about everything in the game. It is Prime Nintendo season, and on a weekly basis, you pretty much can't browse the internet without your, usual Nintendo Switch 2 leak. It's basically like your morning coffee. You need that shit. And luckily, like usual, the impatient internet is here to satiate my needs, because earlier today, we got yet another look at what seems to be a Joy-Con from the Nintendo Switch 2 from a Chinese image sharing website here that first hit the streets of Reddit. Now, as you can see here, we have what seems to be my left Joy-Con. Color scheme looks to be a little different, to where the outside is going to be the grayish color, and then the inside, where it connects to the screen, is where the color is going to be, at least for this base model from what we can tell. Overall, a bigger looking Joy-Con in this person's hand that you can assume is a full-grown adult that needs a little bit of trimming on these nails, and no detach button in sight. So that just further adds to the whole rumor that these new Joy-Cons are going to be magnetic, to where they're going to be much easier to apply and unapply to the screen, of course. Now, again, a couple weeks ago, D-Brand, they posted their case out of nowhere, and their CEO claimed to have exact measurements of the Nintendo Switch 2 designed to make this case. And like we saw, the rumored Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be 116 millimeters tall, while the base model of the original Nintendo Switch is 102 millimeters. So that's 14 whole more millimeters of goodness that we're going to get in the palm of our hands. And this Joy-Con looks every bit of that. Now, unfortunately, our guy here, if this is supposed to be like a real screenshot, he didn't get to show the front off, which sucks, even though we pretty much already know what it looks like. Again, we can obviously go off of D-Brand's whole leaked image where they show the 3D dimensions of the Switch, but we also have the original Joy-Con leak from a few months ago that shows off basically we have the exactly same layout of the current Switch. And of course, like always, if this is to be trustworthy, this is some really dope shit. Now, I'm not a fan of having all these legalese on the back, having the FCC warning, and the Nintendo logo is cool, but I'd rather just have only that on the back of this Joy-Con. It's definitely not like a deal breaker or anything. I'm just if this is the real thing, I'm kind of wondering why they would put it behind the Joy-Con and not just on the back of the screen, like the main screen. Because like we just established, from top to bottom, we got 116 millimeters of goodness in real estate and shit. So why they would chose this spot for to put this stuff is a little weird, but again, it's not a deal breaker. Most of the time we're looking at the front and just being raged over trying to play fucking Metroid, the new Metroid game. But again, overall solid stuff. And like always, just as a disclaimer, take everything with a grain of salt. This is Twitter. Not that long ago, we even had like AI generated leak come out, and it was pretty much disproven in the first day. But even if this isn't the exact layout, like I always say, this is going to be pretty damn near similar to what we're going to be seeing with the Switch 2 whenever that finally is revealed. So, that's that. Moving on, while the 9th generation of consoles isn't the most fulfilling place to play the new, console-defining games that are coming out for this generation, it's definitely the best to play last generations, but unfortunately, I can't say the same for the generation before that, the 7th generation with the PlayStation 3 games, because unfortunately, PlayStation 3 emulation is non-existent in its current form, and you can only play PS3 games on PS5 through cloud gaming. And if you're paying for decent broadband connection, God bless your wallet. But for those of us that are waiting for the traditional way to play these older games via emulation, some good news has been shed on the life of the company that actually handles most retro games on the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, being Implicit Conversations. Now, what these guys do is they take older games and they use their syrup emulation engine to make it compatible with all new hardware like the PlayStation, the Xbox, and Nintendo consoles, and even on Steam. They've had their hand in imported over 21,000 legacy games on these consoles, and you can even buy some of them right now, like micro mages for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 on the PlayStation Store, all built in, all a seamless gameplay experience from what I can see on the internet. And they're really transparent with how they emulate these titles, and have a lot of ambitious plans to port even more games in the future. However, like we already established, the PlayStation 3 is pretty much out of the question for the moment. PlayStation 3 games haven't been emulated by Implicit Conversations, but fortunately, in the last couple of days, Implicit Conversations edited their long-term roadmap to show what they're exploring and working on. And as you can see, they have a bunch of stuff that they're in progress of and releasing, but on their Dreaming About tab, they have a PlayStation 3 emulator, to which they claim they are researching, prototyping the possibility of a PlayStation emulator package for syrup. Well, apparently this is over 2 weeks ago, so you know, I'm just late as fuck to the party like usual. Either way, this news alone is enough to get any, you know, hardcore PlayStation fan excited to get some, you know, real usage out of the PlayStation 5 in modern times, especially the PlayStation 3 community, because there are still some really dope ass games that are locked to that platform. Most notably that I can think of off the top of my head is Metal Gear Solid 4, which is an amazing Metal Gear Solid game that has no port or, you know, remaster in mind anytime soon. And there's been hella experiments in the past that, you know, use the architecture of the PlayStation 5 to see if, you know, it could emulate PlayStation 3 games, and most tests that I've seen have come back completely positive, and it's, you know, it's been able to be done. So, you know, it's just a real slap in the face that Sony isn't having more, you know, attention to PlayStation 3 games on the PS5, especially just for having more offerings for like PlayStation 3 games that they could put on the new PlayStation Plus subscription that's already, you know, pretty stacked. If they could even add more to that, I'm sure people would have more, you know, value to what they're paying. They'll, you know, hefty prices if they have like the more bigger tiers of the PlayStation Plus service. It feels like a waste, and then I can just go back again to all the games that are locked to that platform, like Metal Gear Solid 4, that, you know, are just easy, I hate to say it, but just easy cash grabs for Sony, even though they have no intentions of paying attention to those games. Either way, the status of this is just dreaming, so, you know, how far along we'll have to wait to see if implicit conversations, or, you know, they can implement these games via their syrup engine, and if that's going to be a thing, it's going to be a while, but I hope it's anytime soon. Moving on, I hope that you guys seen at least one episode of the new secret level Amazon Prime show that is just an amazing love letter to gaming, and just animation that is so fluid, and it's really epic. It feels like a big ass cutscene for a game, but it's an actual show. And I just seen the Sifu episode, which is why I have the gameplay on my screen. You know, I got a little fever for Sifu once again. And before I started recording, I read this interview on Collider, to which the creator of the show, Tim Miller, and the executive producer, Dave Wilson, they had a pretty lengthy interview here, to which they answered some questions about, you know, how the series was made, and, you know, what they had mentally going on going into creating a show that is going to be obviously subjective among really, you know, big gaming fans, and just trying to accomplish this and make it as fun as possible for everyone to watch. A show that took over 2,000 animators, you know, brought in a bunch of dope ass voice acting, like from Kevin Hart, from freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger, Keanu Reeves. This is an amazing read. You can tell the creators are gaming fans themselves, and are also just chill as hell, because like they have a part here where Miller, he claims that there was a Variety article where the woman says, "I haven't played a game in 1995 and my opinion is," and I'm just like, fuck you. And the producer explains that while the character, the shows, and everything belongs to the developers of these games, the hardest part was, you know, getting permission to get these games and be able to make animations out of them, since most of the time they got turned down due to lawyering and, you know, rights and whatnot. One of the most surprising things that we read is the fact that Microsoft, they turned down the opportunity, like they claim here, to make a Master Chief and Doomslayer crossover episode, to which he says, Wilson, the producer, that he spent a whole weekend crafting this impassioned into my childhood, and they were just like, nah, on some Spider-Man freaking across the Spider-Verse shit. Now, obviously, like I just said, Microsoft isn't the only company that turned them down. They even say in the next sentence that they begged for Half-Life, but that didn't happen. But I don't understand why Microsoft of all companies would turn them down, especially for a show as ambitious and as many eyes as, you know, this show is having. Like, I don't want to talk you guys head off again on the decisions that Microsoft is making as far as their gaming goes, but right now all they want is eyes, from their whole, you know, this is an Xbox campaign, to the a weekly reminder that the Xbox Game Pass is having all these games, and they're having all these studios that they're porting the games to. So I don't know how Microsoft could see an opportunity like this and just, you know, turn it down, especially now. Now, obviously, this is probably like a couple of years ago, so maybe like 2020, 2019, when they started brainstorming this shit. But even then, you know, they were pretty much on the same shit. And I guess you could attribute it to, you know, maybe they didn't want to mix the IP of Master Chief and Doom. Maybe you could attest to that. But again, man, it's just, I don't understand why they wouldn't just turn down such a free read. Microsoft definitely could have got some cool points out of this if, you know, we saw a Master Chief Doomslayer crossover. Hands down, like, no matter how you feel about Xbox right now, if you saw Master Chief and the Doomslayer just in the same frame on a freaking animation, you would have just lost your shit, been on the edge of your seat like a freaking 2-year-old. Like, that just sounds hype. But again, Microsoft, they move very sporadically and just how they feel on any given week. weak. So I guess, you know, it just got the better of them when they were, you know, in the judgment phases of, you know, how to craft this series. But that really sucks to hear. Moving on, I understand that, you know, with this generation and sort of like the last generation, Fortnite is pretty much like the big thing that everyone is on. But I don't think there's ever going to be a timeline where Minecraft doesn't have some sort of outlet of reach and just, you know, being a really prevalent thing in the whole, you know, gaming world. And as big as it is now, you know, it can be really easy to forget that, you know, originally Minecraft was just a simple game made by a simple developer, you know, just out of jest, and that creator was Notch. And over the years, Notch has been removed from the game, first of all because he sold the game back in 2014, well, the rights to it to Microsoft for $2.5 billion, but also just, you know, controversial tweets and all that good stuff from back in the day, you know, just kind of made everyone push this whole push this guy to the side and just focus on the block game. Anyways, regardless of how you feel, you know, this is the guy, this is the god of Minecraft. And fortunately or unfortunately, a couple of days ago, he made a tweet saying that he has plans to create the spiritual successor to Minecraft. In this tweet, he's basically claiming that he's loving making games again and that he figured he'd absolutely be willing to give an honest shot in the form of a spiritual successor to, you know, the obvious Minecraft game, even with the fear of, you know, successors being usually washed up. More on that in a second. He intensely claims not to do it in a way that sneakily infringes on the incredible work that, you know, Mojang is doing and the work that Microsoft is doing shittily. And I mean, that's respectable. For if there is any god that could, you know, go against the grain of trying to make, you know, a game better than Minecraft, that couldn't be a better person than the creator of the game. But I don't know if there's a way that you can make a successor to Minecraft. You know, Minecraft isn't a linear based game. Like, that isn't a linear adventure. There's a whole creative mode. You can beat the game in all these different ways that speedrunners have the most insane ways of coming up with. Like, unless you play it by the book, you know, literally, like, you know, the Minecraft guidebooks, there's no A to Z. Like, Minecraft is like your own personal adventure, and you do it the way that you feel the best way of going about doing things. And that's what makes it so timeless. That's what makes the game have so much replayability, and, you know, just be able to come back and put it down and do whatever you want with the game. Basically, it's a big ass sandbox. And the problem with making a sandbox is, you know, how do you go about doing that? Like how Notch says, not making something that feels washed up. Now, the way I'm feeling like Notch is going to go is to have a successor only in the name. You know, Minecraft successor is the person that created Minecraft, so his next game is just, you know, a successor to that game, probably not have anything to do with, you know, the whole Minecraft formula, I'm hoping. But that's the best scenario I can find for a game that tries to be a Minecraft 2. But again, even just putting Minecraft 2 together, like, these two nouns just don't sound right. Like, think of the last freaking 16 years of what Minecraft has built. How do you top that and make it to something even remotely fill the shoes of a sequel title to Minecraft? Like, it doesn't really make any sense. Like, I would even make the argument that we've been had like Minecraft 2 and 3 with all these new, you know, new endgame updates and shit. Well, actually, we haven't had an endgame update. We just had new, like, resources and whatnot. So I guess maybe a Minecraft 2 would be like a new boss fight in the game, like shit like that. That's the only way I can think of a Minecraft 2. Either way, I don't have high expectations for whatever this turns out to be, just like I don't have high expectations for the Minecraft movie and shit. But, you know, this is Notch, it's his creation. So if there was a person that had the best chance at creating a Minecraft successor, it'd be this dude. And that's all I got for today, man. If you enjoyed, like on the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.